Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are cracking open a really fascinating philosophical mystery about human nature. It's the kind of mystery that makes you question the very foundation of why we make the choices we make every single day. We'll be exploring a brilliant text by Yu Feng titled Another Mystery of Life. And to really wrap our heads around these profound ideas, we're going to kick things off with a few compelling thought experiments. So get comfortable and let's unravel this together. Right, let's jump straight into the first scenario. Picture this. You are building your absolute dream home, a stunning luxury villa. You've got the perfect spot, the blueprints are flawless, and all the expensive materials are ready to go. But literally right before you break ground, a renowned geologist walks up to you, and this expert guarantees, with 100% absolute certainty, that a massive earthquake will hit this exact spot in exactly 4 years, completely razing any building there to the ground. So would you still build it? I mean, the logical response here is a total no-brainer. When you know for an absolute fact that what you're doing is doomed to fail in the near future, you stop. You'd immediately halt construction, right? You'd save your time, your money, and your effort. It just makes perfect sense. Okay, let's look at a second, much more personal scenario. Imagine your child just got admitted to a famously prestigious university in the US. Your whole family is celebrating, it's a huge deal. But right in the middle of the party, a fortune teller shows up, and they tell you with absolute certainty that your child shouldn't go because in exactly 4 years, literally on graduation day, they will be in a fatal car crash. Again, we have to ask, would you still send them? Knowing this deeply tragic future is set in stone, any parent in their right mind would undoubtedly cancel the trip. There's no question. You would do absolutely everything in your power to protect your kid, just completely abandoning the prestigious education to avoid that guaranteed heartbreak. Let's consider just one more quick scenario. You're gearing up to invest a cool million yuan into a highly lucrative real estate deal. Out of nowhere, a stranger approaches you and says, "Hey, you better stop. You're going to make 100 million in the first 10 years, sure, but in year 11, you'll go totally bankrupt, you'll go to prison, and every single thing you own will be confiscated." Do you still make that investment? Naturally, knowing a catastrophic, life-ruining disaster is just waiting for you at the finish line makes you pull the plug instantly. You wouldn't spend a single cent. So in all three of these scenarios, knowing a guaranteed negative outcome stops us dead in our tracks. But here is where Yu Feng hits us with this ultimate paradox. On the one hand, we just established that knowing a doomed future means we stop. But on the other hand, look at our biological reality. When a couple decides to have a child, they don't need a geologist or a fortune teller to tell them the ending. We all know that every child born into this world will, eventually, inevitably, die. Even knowing that ultimate end is inescapable, people still choose to give birth. And let's be real, it's not just the ending that's tough. Look at the broader context of human history. The vast majority of lives aren't just destined to end. They're packed with intense struggles along the way. We spend so much of our lives dealing with trouble, pain, anxiety, and sorrow. And despite knowing all that hardship is just part of the package deal, everyone jumps right in anyway. We all dive into the struggle with this incredible fluke mentality, telling ourselves, hey, I'm going to live well. The author uses these really powerful old sayings to capture this relentless momentum we have. We're like the mighty Changjiang River, where the waves behind just continuously drive the ones ahead. We just keep pushing forward, perfectly embodying that pretty grim proverb, no tears will come when you do not see the coffin. We simply ignore the inevitable finish line that's waiting for all of us. So, what is the deal here? If we applied such pure, unshakable logic to the villa, the student, and the investor, why are we so incredibly irrational when it comes to life itself? Why do we confidently march ourselves and bring new life into a world that literally guarantees a mix of suffering and an ultimate unavoidable end? Well, the author points to 3 specific reasons for this irrationality. First up, hope. We live in anticipation simply because we literally do not know what tomorrow brings. That uncertainty creates a massive space for optimism. Second, we are driven by pure biological survival instincts. We can't help it. We are quite literally pushed by the tide of nature. And third, honestly, we just have no other choice. There's no other way but to participate. And that brings us to the real core of this whole explainer. It's what Xu Feng calls the mystery of life. People enter the world simply to experience it. The entire process of life is just exactly that, a process of experience. And here is the real kicker. Apart from this experience, there is absolutely nothing else to gain at the end. The value isn't in the destination, because we already know the destination. The value is entirely in the process. Now, when that really clicks, it creates a massive paradigm shift. Think back to the start of our discussion. Remember the geologist, the fortune teller, and the stranger? At first, we thought they were the heroes, saving people from disaster. But according to this philosophy, they actually did a truly terrible thing. By revealing the absolute truth about those doomed outcomes, those prophets ruined everything. They shouldn't have warned the builder, or the parents, or the businessman. Why? Because that absolute truth completely deprived those people of the process of experiencing life. They robbed them of the journey of building, of learning, and of growing. To really hammer this point home, the author uses this slightly dark but unbelievably effective metaphor. Imagine walking up to a newborn pig and just laying out its exact gruesome fate. You just tell it, hey, when you grow up, people are going to fatten you up, stab a knife in your heart, and then eat you. Now, is that pig ever going to enjoy a single day rolling around in the mud if it knows the horrifying truth of its predetermined end? Could it ever actually have a happy life? Of course not. The sheer weight of that inevitable truth would just crush any capacity for joy in the present moment. And what we learn from this is the profound cruelty of absolute truth. Just bluntly laying out an inevitable tragic end is incredibly cruel, because it completely destroys the now. If you are totally fixated on the fact that everything eventually ends, you paralyze your ability to actually live today. So the text argues something pretty radical. It says that it is actually much more aligned with natural law and human nature to let people live in what the author calls a daze. Living in this state of hopeful ignorance about our ultimate fate isn't foolish. It's actually a super vital, protective, psychological shield that lets us function, strive, and find real meaning. Think about it. Even when we are told the hard truth, most of us don't even want to believe it. And this leads to a beautifully complex thought. Sometimes lies, or at least willful ignorance, are way more compassionate than the truth. Shielding ourselves from the absolute certainty of the end is an act of profound compassion that allows the human spirit to truly thrive. So, the ultimate takeaway from this philosophy is actually incredibly uplifting. The author's message is just simple: live happily. If life experience is literally the whole point, then every single day should be a happy day. Once you accept that the journey is the only thing we actually get to keep, you realize that maximizing the joy of that daily experience is the only logical way to live. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today. I really hope it shifts how you look at the beautiful mystery of your own journey. And it brings us to our final provocative thought for you to ponder. If the entire value of your life is purely found in the journey itself, in the surprises, the hopes, the struggles, and the daily experiences, do you really, truly want to know what tomorrow brings?